Well, afternoon, guys. It's 4:40 in the afternoon right now for Monday, the 27th of January, 2025. We were John C. Roseman, California. How you doing, guys? Well, in a reverse decision that the United States Air Force, thank God, it made, they're um, they're claiming that the DEI programs that the old gas bag wanted to shut down is not going to be affecting the museums or any information concerning about the Tuskegee Airmen. Thank God. They're claiming it's not DEI, but other people are still trying to say it's going to be DEI, aren't they? Because it's about black people. Racism. That's all it is blatant racism that we got going on. The immigration, the DEI, I mean, anything and everything concerning about the old ugly thing that we didn't want in office and we got it in office, and now what the hell we do about it? The Air Force took care of their own. A couple of articles I'm scanning, looking at, and getting printed up that there were calls from Congress to the U.S. Air Force, pleading, demanding, and simply stating, you can't do this. You're not going against history. Commandant of the Air Force said, yeah, you're right. So they're reversing the decision. I guess even the newly appointed SecDev, the Secretary of Defense, said okay. But Trump is still having issues over this damn thing because it's defying the Trump. How dare you? How dare you defy the Trump? Well, basically, what's education? Can't have education because it's DEI. How dare you? Teach it without the DEI, which means you only teach about a certain particular point of view and not a wide spectrum here. But unfortunately, when you're conservative, you only want it this way, this way, this way. Look at it through here. Don't look at anything else. Just look at it through here. How would you like to have the President of the United States come through your town after a national disaster? Oh, to us it was a national disaster anyway. We had national response. We had states coming in. We had countries coming in to help fight off a wildfire that was nasty. Worse than what we've dealt with in Southern California regions. And Trump comes in and bitches and grapes about us. Hey, what you did? That's so wrong. You didn't have the right people over there. Where's my people? It could have been better. Oh, yeah, we'll get you help, I think. But you know, we gotta get FEMA torn apart. They're not doing this right. How dare you? We got people coming all over here. What does that mean? Well, I think you don't need any. You just need the right management to get things done. Like that's gonna help concerning about everything, huh? If you don't know the territory. Well, you gotta have the right manager to know. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we'll help you guys out. But they only came in for the meeting and got the hell out of there. That's what the administration did. FEMA's been sticking at it. That's their job. They stick at it. You know, they deal with it. But Trump came in just to. I don't think the asshole ever thought that one of the golf courses that has his name on it is still in danger of sliding. Did it ever occur to the gas bag that his property that his company had purchased a long time ago, within the past 20 or 30 years, understood the geology of the area, They still bought it, slapped a name on it, still made it into a public golf course, and it's still considered in a dangerous light. Though we haven't seen or heard anything yet. We assume for right now, from the lack of news coming out, that it's stabilized. There shouldn't be any problems. But there was no one to cover these people. No state funding, no insurance companies, not even national response to stabilize a peninsula. This is the politics. There was nothing written in insurance policies. Nothing about landslides. That could have taken out entire communities if the water table wasn't stabilized, if it wasn't drained out enough to make sure that there wasn't going to be any more sliding. I know what I said a few minutes ago. In one particular section, it could have poured out enough water out of the faucet, if you will. Make sure the grind wasn't going, but it's still moving. Why? Gravity. And stuff's still on top of it. But you still need a lubrication, so it might be a little bit slower. But it still needs stabilizing more. But it needs funding. You see, equipment and specialists, they cost. People bought the houses, built houses over there. Poured everything else they could. And barely maintaining it. They wanted a view of the ocean. They had to pay the price for it. And the price was geology. No, the price was politics. It comes down for military history. They don't want to forget. They don't want to shove it aside. It's like saying that the Japanese Americans who actually volunteered to leave the internment camps of ours to fight for the country that was imprisoning them in order to prove that they were loyal Americans. DEI programs. And back then, one way or another, in a different form or another, was making sure that we actually had additional troops. The Japanese would not be fighting in the Pacific, they would be fighting in the European theater. I'm grateful that the United States Air Force had made sure that the history of the Tuskegee Airmen was not considered DEI, and in a way it was. But the public outcry said, no, you don't do that. We want to know. We want to learn. We need to know. It's history. Trump doesn't care about that. Trump followers don't care about that. Listen to the political crap going on left and right. They don't care. Point fingers. Be angry. Be frustrating. Blame others for the price of eggs going up because you blame it on immigrants. No. You want to do this game here. Let's do this game. You take away the immigrants out of the fields. Who's going to be going back into the fields? Where's the want ads? For decades, we've had immigrants coming in there, tilling the fields, doing the farm work. In different agricultural areas, they used undocumented, but they were migrant, and they were pretty damn good at their job. Now, what do? Prices are going to go up. Labor. If the United States of America, or white America, doesn't get in there and do the job, then what do? Yeah, I threw in a little bit of racism there, didn't I? Do we hire the blacks? Are they going to be toiling in there? Let's see, what the hell happened a long time ago? We formed this country, we had slaves. Different forms, different formats, but we also, through trade, what was it, the triangle trade we actually had back in the 1800s. Some of the countries decided they weren't going to take other people from other countries, including the African countries, and use them for slave labor. No, we continued the damn practice in America. It took a civil war to say enough. And it took centuries to get to a point we're still not comfortable with the idea of what the hell happened. We're still going to treat them like slaves, aren't we? So if we're going to be pure white nation here, let's throw every black person in the fields again. Let's make ourselves feel so damn superior that we can feel like we're back in the 1800s or worse. We're crop share or plantation owners. And deal with that. Because we say so. We're conservative enough, we want to go back in time. We want that days where we're enslaving human beings. The migrant farmers didn't ask. But actually they did ask the farmers and landowners if they could for a wage. And they did. They kept coming back every season to do the work. That, I'm sorry, was American people supposed to be doing the work? For how much could the farmers afford to pay? And yeah, corporations would pay pennies for the damn job, but those immigrants came in, maybe illegal aliens, but they're migrant farmers. And they came in and they wanted to do a job. I don't care if they get pennies, they're sending the pennies home. They lived how they could. They were doing it to support their families back in other countries. And they would pay their fair share of taxes if they could. Just so they can get the American dream. Hopefully earn a chance to get into the American dream as they're getting the paperwork process. What was it about us that we didn't like that process? These guys came over the border to work. What is the horror of that thing? Where is the terrifying notion that we have illegal aliens coming over to do our work to feed ourselves, to feed our ugly mouths? And yet we got Congress bellyaching like crazy. They hadn't been out there. They hadn't been out there in the fields. They didn't give a shit about the fields. They only care about the politics and what it makes look good on camera. And their own constituents are also lazy and shit. Why wasn't the farmers talking about this? Why weren't they saying that the immigrants coming through their lands and doing the work, paying pennies for pounds, they wanted to work, they wanted a chance. But did I hear anything from the farmers on this one on the press? No. Why? Because the press wouldn't cover it. Press wouldn't cover it. Not even the the landowners or the corporations that owned them wouldn't say a word on it. More was it? All I hear is the politicians, and then I hear the people in the other cities pushing blowback at this point over here saying, no, we don't want the immigrants, they're turning it illegal. Ah! I had to tell you assholes, but this country was formed by immigrants. We had immigrants coming over from every place, at every side of the country. I kept saying history, history, history. But nobody gives a shit about it. No bitch, no gripe. The bitch and gripe about learning other cultures, and they call it DEI crap. Because they want to be lazy about their history. They think they know history. But they can't teach history if they don't know the shit. But they don't want to know the shit. They think they're so damn special. This is why I call them egotistical. This is why I call them greedy bastards. This is why I call them every damn name in the book. Because they don't care. They just want to cause pain like bullies, and they think they're Lord of the Lands. Guess what, assholes? We ain't. We ain't. Growing up in an elementary school of a school district still trying to get its ass together, I was trying to learn things about California as a young kid. Didn't understand a damn thing. Dad shoved the knowledge down our throats. There was no comprehension to a kid going through 1 through 4 unless they had context. What would have been the context? Well, if you're teaching about how other cultures we were encountering, it's like, how could that happen if we didn't have any representation? It was just a solid race, solid white race. How can we teach diversity, equality? How can we teach about differences of any sorts unless we see them in person all the damn time? You hear the stereotypes coming out of their mouths. But in other parts of cities and countries, actually counties and cities and states where there was diversity, sometimes that crucial knowledge was needed. Social studies, sociology, they call it different names, but we were studying humanity. We were studying about cultures, how changes of environment could change a person one way or another over time. And those changes would have been put into our genetic markers. For someone with different skin color and different tolerance for temperatures, when they're migrating from one area to other areas throughout generations, they were getting used to areas left and right, who had various conditions. Too harsh of a sun, too less of a sun. More heat, colder than shit. Moist, dry as a bone. We have these dynamics playing in the world for millions of years because things were changing slowly and gradually. But now we got them worse off because they're coming harsher and harsher than we've studied. Scientists have tried to study records of climate changes, taking soil samples, ice samples, whatever kind of samples they can take to analyze, monitor, to hypothesize, to guess at, to understand if this is factual or not. Most of the time, they're doing a pretty good hit and miss on this one. Mostly hits and less miss. But other people don't want to hear about that one. They don't care. But they'll still bellyache about the food prices going up. And gas is not plentiful enough, or gas is too plentiful for them. They'll bitch about windmills. They'll bitch about solar panels. They're an eyesore. They're costly. They're taking too much room. Why are they here? Would they say the same thing about nuclear power? Oh, hell yeah. They said the same thing about nuclear power. What the hell happened to that one? Well, should we talk about a little bit of nuclear power? As much as I understand it. We didn't start the nuclear power crap until we actually launched the A-bomb. And now we got atomic power. We got the power to destroy, but do we have the power to create? It took them a long time, the engineers and the scientists, to create the reactors. And they never got it to a foolproof method either. When you're using reactors, you're using processed radioactive material, minerals coming from the ground, naturally radioactive, refining them to a point where they're emanating heat. Put it into water, it produces steam. Take the steam, capture it, throw it into generators, produces electricity. Sounds simple, huh? Complicated, but it's simplified. But as a planet recycles itself, it takes the waste, recycles it, shoves it back onto the surface again, or repurposes it, reprocesses it, and somehow still transports it up to the surface. What do we do with the stuff we got? The problem with nuclear energy is the wastewater. The water has already been used, that is, and the rods. The rods are still hot, but they've already been used and spent. The water, totally radioactive, has to be replaced. Where does it go? You've got plants all over countries, all over the world, diminishing, because they still have a problem concerning about how to process or how do you take away the radiation from the stuff or recycle it? You can't. We haven't discovered it. We haven't discovered any ways of doing it. So we bury it alive like the worms they are. Bury it under tons of rocks that hopefully would contain the radioactive material. Of course, we'd have the water and rods and containers, and we'd put them under tons and tons of dirt, solidified rock. We'd bury them alive like the worms they are. They are a lot more powerful, a lot more energetic than the natural stuff coming out of the ground, but a lot more deadlier with the radiation count. We discovered that nuclear power was so dangerous that we had nuclear plants showing us that. At different times of history, we'd had one release gas in the air. 3 Mile Island rings a bell. Of course, we'd have nuclear rods going through meltdown. If they're not cooled, they melt. They melt things around it because of the heat, the radioactive heat. Chernobyl, ring a bell? That was half my lifetime ago. 3 Mile Island, I was just a kid when it happened. And that happened, what, in Pennsylvania? Or not Pennsylvania. Somewhere in the middle, Great Lakes area, I think. We had to have the Nuclear Regulatory Agency to still monitor anything radioactive we got in the country. Any sites, any mechanisms, anything. Had to be under regulations, had to be under strict quarantine, had to be controlled. So we didn't have the radiation spreading around people left and right. But imagine having these kind of programs and agencies suddenly shut down. Then what? We're going to be having another Chernobyl? We already had a San Onofre having mechanical issues left and right, but they hadn't caused any major evacuations. But the energy corporation that owned San Onofre shut the damn thing down. And it's going to take them decades to tear the thing apart. Because of the constant usage, it was an operation of generating a hell of a lot of power for regions surrounding it. But because of the aging material, lack of maintenance, waste material, they think this was a safe energy. They were calling it just a safe energy. Never is. Wind turbines depends upon how much wind you're going to be getting through it. If you're blowing across the sea, different areas of the water, yes, we would have wind blowing turbines. And if we actually had turbines underwater, that would have been nice because we would be depending upon ocean currents to generate electricity. That's a power idea right there. What about the environment and life around it? What about the surrounding sea life? If you happen to put up any barriers in the water, it curtails a lot of current. Would make it a very energy efficient, wouldn't it? you still have curious sea life going through the area without realizing that man is very much intruding in every aspect of this planet. But without knowledge of any of this, taking away agencies that control and manipulate, to protect, to regulate. They all are in for it. That's the only thing that matters. How much temporary we're going to get out of it. And after that, let the other generations deal with it. Current generation wants all this. And after that, everyone fends for themselves. Of course, people will be bellyaching about it in government systems left and right, but this is what happens. Greed is now. Greed wants it instantly. Part of the 7 deadly sins of man. We lust, we want, we covet. But we also get stupid. There's a lot of things I don't know about. Things coming across to me that, okay, I look at the videos and I save them. Or actually, I watch them and hopefully that the YouTube doesn't blow up because I'm saving a lot of videos. I want to go back later to research. Because I want to know. I want to learn. I want to understand why somebody had to go racist. Why somebody had to go freak out at this point. What was their major malfunction? Why are these programs so damn important? Why is one particular point of view the most important thing? It's like you think this is the center of the universe right here. Truth of the matter is, there is no center of the universe. At least not detectable anyway. And which particular universe are you talking about? Your own internal? Your own egomaniac? Megalomania? What's the center of my universe? Waking up and whining her head off. That's my dog. That's the center of my universe for right now. She's sleeping. Peace and quiet for right now. I already had rest, so I got another 12 or 14 more hours until I try to get some sleep. Meanwhile, I'll deal with her. But that's the center of my universe. So what's the center of your universe? Will you allow differences? Will you allow cultural differences, or are we stuck in the same sound box? See, I may not stand the rhetoric coming out of them. That's all I hear is the rhetoric. I hear the finger pointing all the damn time. That's what I'm accustomed to hearing. I don't hear solutions. They say they got solutions. They want to do this. And I'm thinking, well, who's it going to benefit? They'll throw out general terms. No, that doesn't work. Why? Because it won't work. Why? It's not just because I told you, because they hadn't used their head on this one. They hadn't used their logic on this shit. What are we using these situations for and these people for? For the betterment of the country. Isn't it? Are people looking for more money to gain? More capitalism? Just how many zeros and ones do you need in your damn checkbook? So you're going to put people into slavery for your zeros and ones to increase in your checkbook. Simple enough question, isn't it? Just how much slavery do you need and do you demand for your center of the universe to be as dense as your skull and as thick-hearted as your soul? Go figure that one out, guys.